Welcome to another episode here at Deep Mountain Security. Today, I kind of want to go over prevention of accidental installation of malware on your computer, specifically in the form of user account management. Let's go ahead and open up the control panel on the Windows box. And you're going to notice that there's almost Windows boxes, because I'm working on Windows 10. There's going to be some kind of a user accounts page. And so once we get into the user accounts page, you're going to notice that we can do a couple different things. So if we can, if we go to, for example, change account type. No, that's not it. If we go into here, so if we go into where you manage our users is, you're going to notice we've got a couple different users, and then we can get into here. You're going to notice that generally every computer should have an administrator. That's kind of a given. That should probably be somebody who knows more about Windows administration or whatever box it's running on than the other users, and thus has more permissions to do stuff with that. So one of the ways in which you can kind of eliminate users who don't really know what they're doing from installing stuff on accident, such as malware and Trojans and etc., is by making them standard users. So if we go to change the account type, and usually you can specify this when we go to create a user, you're going to notice that in Windows there's a standard user and an administrator. Standard users generally can't change most software and system settings that'll affect the security of the computer, whereas administrators have all those permissions and privileges. They can go ahead and make those modifications. So generally you want most of your users to be standard users and not administrators. I've even known some people who take it to the point where what they will do is that their account that they use on a daily basis will be a standard user. They will have an administrative user that will also be, them, and they'll have the password, but they will only use the administrative user when making administrative changes. And all other times they're running as a standard user, so, if they accidentally click on something or open something, it's less likely to break and ruin your system and infect it with malware. So that, that's one thing that you can do. If we kind of go back here, you're going to notice that there's a couple of other things that we can do. You can manage other users' accounts and stuff like that. Another thing, and I find this really important in Windows, is this change UAC settings, which is the user account control settings. And what this does is this allows you to change when you're notified for something. So when I go and I open up an application, maybe here's an easy one. If I open up the registry editor, it's going to pop up this. This is a UAC box, UAC, user account control, in which case we can kind of get some information. If I click on that, it's just going to take us to this thing again, which we've already got open. But anyways, so you're going to notice that, so every time you try to run something that requires administrative privileges, there are different settings for whether or not it will pull up a box. We've got all the way down here on the slider here, all the way at the bottom of the range, in which case, as soon as I go to do something like reg edit, it's not going to pop up anything. It's just going to get full-on administrative privileges. Whereas if we go to the complete opposite end of the range, you're going to notice that it's going to pop it up every single time. Even for that. There's different settings in here, and so you kind of have to find a balance, and there's, other ways to, require passwords or something like that. That's generally, through group policy or other settings. When every time it's trying to run a program that requires administrative privileges. That's another thing that you can do, is you can, change to always let you know. And then, every time, that might kind of get annoying sometimes. However, it might also be very beneficial to you, if you click on something and, oh, that's an executable. Oops, I had no idea, I thought it was a picture. That's kind of weird that it's pulling up this thing. I probably don't want to run it. That's kind of bad. That's kind of a given. But anyways, we can go in and change this to whatever in the world we would like. But anyways, you can kind of amp that up or lower it down or whatever. Another thing we can do is we can go to the settings here in the Windows stuff, go to Update and Security, launch your Windows Defender Security Suite, and then inside of here, we're going to have a couple of different things. So if we kind of go down through some of the options in here, you're going to notice that some of these are just your standard whatnot. For virus threat protection, etc. How healthy is my system? However, the one we're looking for is the app and browser control. And what this does is this allows Windows Defender to kind of scan everything before it's run. And it's generally fairly fast, unless you're running an application where the executable is like several, gigabytes in size. But even then, it generally runs pretty fast. So we currently have it on warn. We could set it to block or other things for most apps and files. We can screen for Microsoft Edge and kind of filter stuff there. We can do that with Windows Store apps. And then we have some more advanced features under the exploit protection, which helps us, we're already kind of decently protected with Windows Defender. However, we can kind of go in here and kind of mess with some of the stuff in here a little bit more in detail. And I think I've kind of gone over this before in a past video. However, I just want to kind of touch on some of these items again. Mostly being that, so you've got different practices and different methods that just kind of help protect your system and keep it running better in terms of what they allow and what it doesn't. So, for example, this data execution prevention. That prevents code from being executed when it should only be stored as data. So, data that's being stored as data shouldn't be able to run arbitrary code. That's kind of a given. And then there's some other stuff in here, there's similar things as well. Validate heap integrity, make sure that the heap isn't corrupted or something like that. So that way it's not overwriting, overflowing the heap or stack or something. You can even go into program settings, and we can go through individual executable files and things that we run on a regular basis, and we can go in and we can kind of change all kinds of these settings for it, even a little bit more advanced than what we had in the system settings here. And we can even override some of the system settings if we really wanted to. However, most of the time default's good unless you're a more advanced user and kind of know what you're doing in here. Maybe you don't want to load remote images, or you want to allow something or don't allow something, or stop all child processes from being created by this specific executable. So you're going to run it and it's not going to have the ability to create child processes, or whatever else in the world it might be. So there's just a ton of stuff here. Just tons and tons of options. And you could even, if you, let's say you had a program that wasn't in this list, you can always click add the program. You can add the program by name. That sometimes works. It's usually better to just choose the exact file path that you're running it from. Go over to your C drive, program files, Java, navigate to wherever your Java application might be, and then we can open that up in here and modify our settings, and let's validate our stack grid integrity. You got to restart it or whatever. But anyways, you guys kind of get the idea. There's just tons of stuff in here that you can kind of modify. You can also mess with parental controls from Windows Defender if you really want to. I do know some people that will turn parental controls and firewalls and filters and stuff like that on for themselves. Not so much as like set good screen time habits, because some of us have horrible habits. So maybe you got a New Year's resolution, and you want to kind of lay off how much time you spend on your device. You can kind of choose how much time you can spend on your device. But anyways, So some people, you just might want to do that. Make life a little bit crazier for yourself if you really want to. However, not everybody's going to want to do this, but a lot of people, or some people I know have chosen to do this for themselves, just so they can, it's an extra step of security, kind of helps protect you. It's just really useful. But anyways. So yeah, that's the stuff you can do in Windows Defender for you. I think that's going to conclude my video for the night. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed already, don't forget to do that. Have a good day.